that can't get cloned. This is Jerry's world, y'all know Jerry Jones.
Working with plastic, man. I need to know, man. Real quick. Word is that man. How are you enjoying your rookie? Your first
How do you feel about continuing that legacy of
We the five-time Super Bowl champs. We got rings that go bling, go bling. Watching your team is like watching no Bluebird. We about to take you back to the future. Number 21, Zeke the Freak. And number 50, the General Lee. Cowboys, no need to flex. Like Des Bryant, I'm throwing up the X. If you a true Dallas fan, don't forget. Jason Witten and the Trip Bets. This is one team can't get cloned. This is Jerry's world, y'all know Jerry Jones. Super Bowl champs. We got rings that go bling, go blam. Watching your team is like watching no Bluebird. We about to take you back to the future. Number 21, Zeke the Freak. And number 50, the General Lee. Cowboys, no need to flex. Like Des Bryant, I'm throwing up the X. If you a true Dallas fan, don't forget. Jason Witten and the Trip Bets. This is one team that can't get cloned. This is Jerry's world, y'all know Jerry Jones.
Route, man. I want to know, man.
Watching your team is like watching no Bluebird. We up to take you back to the view.
What's up with you guys? It is your boy West Coast, and we are live in the building, man. Sorry about that. I had kind of hit that go button, didn't even know I was gone. But we gone now, and it's on purpose this time. So we about to give y'all that cowboy gold, man. So I am your boy West Coast. I got my cowboy cousin, Boss Cowboy on the line, man. So you already know if Compton and Long Beach are together, then you know it's in trouble. You know what I'm saying? So let's get this show to popping, and let's have ourselves a great cowboy day today. Let me shout out to some couple people that's in the comment box real quick. I got Barry Gibson. What up with you, man? Over there from Oats, man. Y'all see the logo at the bottom left, man. You know we support Oats, man, here in the building. So I appreciate them. Built by fans, for the fans, man. Almost like FUBU. You know what I'm saying? It's like the FUBU of Dallas Cowboys. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Gregory, what up with you, OG Gregory? He says, what up, West Coast and Boss? Leah, what's up with you? Said, what's good, y'all? West Coast and Boss Cowboy, what's up with you? Marcy, how you doing? How you doing, Scout? She says, hey, West Coast and Boss. Fonzarelli, what up with you? Buddha, what up with? He says, yurt. He says YERTT. I don't know what that means. Yurt. I guess that's some down south lingo. You know what I'm saying? But yo, man, we up in here. We should have OG Mark Holmes hopping on here in about 10, 15 minutes. If we're up on YouTube, let me know. If we're not, I apologize for that. I think I don't know. System's running weird today, but I know we live and good up on Facebook, so we ready to get this thing popping. Wait, actually, we is live on YouTube. What up, YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube popping.
What up, YouTube? See, man, I was a little down in my spirits right now. I don't know if y'all caught me right now, but I was a little in my feelings right now because I thought the YouTube didn't go up, so I was kind of like, what's up, how y'all doing? But now I'm on one now. Now y'all see YouTube up. Now, okay, Boss Cowboy, let's have a show, man. Let's really have a show now. You know what I'm talking about? So we got YouTube up. What up, Hefe? We got Bubba Johnson up here. We got Timothy. What up with you? He from Turl, Texas. What's up with you, man? Ain't that where Jamie Foxx? Ain't Jamie Foxx from there? All right, Nathan, what's up with you, man? I was looking for your name today to put your shirt in the mail. I actually got it in the goddamn car and couldn't find your name, but now I got you, Nathan, because I was looking for Hollywood, but I got you. So your shirt.
Good people, man.
Huh?
So my boy Nate, good people, man. He be real life checking on.
Yeah, but I told you, man. I'm gonna tell you, like YouTube people is totally different people on YouTube than they are on like Facebook. Cause on Facebook, you know, he Nathan James Hightower, he the whole government and everything. On YouTube, he's Hollywood, such and such and such and such. I'm like, oh snaps. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so you know it'd be different sometimes. So I gotta catch up. You know what I'm saying? That's how I be on IG too. IG it'd be like y'all nicknames be something totally different. So I know who you are, Nathan. I got you. I know you already sent me your information. I'll be putting it in the mail tomorrow morning. So I appreciate you, brother, for subscribing on YouTube. Joseph Sold Out Williams says, sold out. What you sold out to? It better be the Jesus. All right. He says, if you ever leave the West Coast, what will you call yourself? I will never leave the West Coast. I'm sorry. The Dallas Cowboys play in Dallas, and as long as Southwest is able to hook your boy up, man, I think I'll be okay, man. But I think I'll just be coast. Nah, I'm playing. Yeah, man. I don't think I'll ever leave the West Coast, man. Can't do it, man. Can't do it, man. My boy Jason Brantley, what up with you, man? I play, but my boy Boss Cowboy always got a gang of dudes on here. He played ball on here, so I got my boy Jason. You know, I ain't gonna lie, he a Rams fan, but he very knowledgeable of what he do, so he always support your boy West Coast. So I appreciate you, man. We got Scout Brian Lindsay in the house. We got Lauren. What up with you, Lauren? I already know what you about to say. The first thing Lauren say when he get on the show is release Jeff Heath. How everybody doing this morning? That's how he do it every day. And then I got big Maine Bradford, and then I got Jason. I do gotta let you know though. Anytime a person come on here and I know that they educated and they know football, I always want to ask them. You need to go be the Dallas Cowboys scouting of the Rams scouting, and find out. Tell me what the hell is going on with Jared Goff, and if you guys won't really pay him. Hey, I gotta ask him. You know what? Since I'm gonna ask you a question, Jay. I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you think it's weird how Carson Wentz, Dak Prescott, and Goff all came in the same year, but you don't hear no conversations about Goff possibly getting an extension? And I want to know, if you were to pick this draft over, where would you rank them three quarterbacks? I want to know. I want to know, Jay. I want to know who would you pick between them three? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, if you had to redraft this class, as much as Mahomes was in that class too, right?
No,
Mahomes was in the next year.
Yeah,
Mahomes was in the next year. So I mean, when you're looking at that, no, it wasn't Mahomes. It was I'm thinking the boy from Denver.
What?
Denver. I'm thinking of the boy from Denver. Yeah,
Paxton Lynch.
So if you're looking at it, I want to rank. I want to rank these quarterbacks, man. I want to rank these quarterbacks. Dak Prescott's class, man. Because I would think that if you were a quarterback in 2016 draft, you should be talking about getting paid. So I just think it's curious that that Dak and Wentz are the only ones considering getting paid. So if you had to rank these quarterbacks coming out of the draft right now, 1, 2, and 3, where are you ranking? Goff, Dak, and Wentz? Go ahead. I want to know. What are y'all thoughts?
So I actually ranked the year after that too, which was Mahomes, Watson, and Mitch Trubisky. So I had a full rank.
What's your thoughts? What are your thoughts on that 2016?
Well, that's easy. If we just doing that one, that's super easy. That's Dak, that's Goff, and then there's Wentz. And the major reason I put Goff over Wentz is because Goff is not as injured as Wentz. I think Wentz has more upside, but I think Goff is more consistent. He's been to a Super Bowl, and I think he's going to play a lot longer because he actually plays a lot safer, you know. But I actually ranked the year after that as well, and my rank was number 1 out of the 2017 class and 2016 classes. Drum roll, please. Watson, number 1 on my list, and the reason being is
I can understand that though.
Yeah, his offensive line has always been horrible.
Bruh, he led the NFL, and they led the NFL in sacks. Put it like this: this is how bad their offensive line is. Their offensive line was really, really bad when he got hurt, and guess what happened when he came back? They gave up more sacks. They gave up 7 more sacks. Think about this. Imagine getting hurt. You're a quarterback, and you come back to an offense, and that very next year, not a year later, but actually that would be a year later, but the very next year, you get sacked 64 more times, 7 more times than you did the year you got hurt. I'm gonna be honest with you. If the Houston don't find a way to protect him, Watson is gonna be the greatest, one of the most wasted commodities in football, I believe. Because he's going to be like a RG3, bro, where it's like, you know, he didn't necessarily an injury, but a certain, like RG3's career was always held back because of something. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I think Watson, his offensive line could definitely be that something. Because I'm going to be honest with you, if you give Watson this is a dangerous thing to say. This is a dangerous thing to say. If you give Watson a good line, I actually think Watson's probably a top 3, top 4 quarterback in the NFL, man.
Easily.
Like, with a line, I think he's easily a top 4, top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Easily.
You know what I'm saying? And I know they're probably thinking like, oh my God, why aren't we talking about that?
The last 20 years could have done what he did. Nobody. Like, and you have to watch how he did it. It's not just the throws. It's the throws under duress. It's the throws while shaking people off of you every game.
Every single play.
Every single play. He make throws off balance. He never have to set his feet. And he's still deadly accurate, you know. And that's why I ranked him over Mahomes. Like, obviously, Mahomes had a lot more to work with. I think he had better weapons, better coaching, and
he had a better coach, bro. Andy Reid.
Yeah, a lot better coach, you know. So it's like I look at because you know the reason I put Watson number 1 out of those 2 classes because you have to rank to me the degree of difficulty. Because we saw what happened with Dak when he lost his line. And it got really bad in 2017. We saw what happened to Wentz when he had a bad line in 2016 when Lane Johnson went down. The guy never had a line, never, and he putting up crazy numbers, you know. And he lost 2 of his weapons. He lost Fuller and he lost Kiki. He was really just with Hopkins and a bunch of nobodies. So, you know, when I look at the degree of difficulty and they still won 11 games straight under him, that's carrying the team. Number 2, I said Mahomes. Number 3, I said Dak. Number 4, I said Goff. Number 5, I said Mr. Trubisky. And then number 6, I said Wentz.
So basically the sneaky question that I would really ask you is if it was any of these young quarterbacks that are coming out right now, who would you choose to build your franchise? That's what we was basically kind of getting around. So I think we could all. I think if I had to say right now, out of the young quarterbacks that are coming up right now, I mean, I would love to put Pat Mahomes is my number 1 off of 50 touchdowns, but I'm going to be honest with you. I just don't know if Pat's 50 you know how some people set a record? Like Michael Johnson's 200-meter record was so good. Like it was so fast that it's just stuff that it's almost feels like it would never be obtainable again. In 50 touchdowns, back-to-back seasons, bruh, if Mahomes is able to do that to the NFL, you guys don't understand what they have in Kansas City then. You know what I'm saying? He then gets into that mecca of greatest of all times if he's able to create that feat again. You know, 50 touchdowns in a season. So I don't know, you know, I see the mechanics and I'm gonna be honest with you, I see more baller-ish. Like I actually put Mahomes in that same category as Dak and Watson. The only difference is I think Mahomes had a free reign to really do what he wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he also
way better coaching. When you got a really, really good quarterback that's sitting here, and you got really good coaching, and you got really good
exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If you look at Mahomes, there's no flaw in his system. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no flaw. He has a coach that can run a dynamic offense. Then not only that, he is a coach who understands. I think the best thing that happened to Pat Mahomes is the fact that he went to Andy Reid, not that he went to the Kansas City Chiefs. Because look at the quarterbacks that Andy Reid has had. Andy Reid was very successful with one Donovan McNabb, who's whining and complaining, saying that he should be in the Hall of Fame right now. You know what I'm saying? And it's like that mobility quarterback, that guy that can still get out and extend plays. One thing that I love about what they did with Pat Mahomes is they matched him with a system and a coach.
Wow. Just dream.
You know what I'm saying? That's like that was the perfect storm. And the cool thing about Mahomes is when you do that, you know what you also do, Boss Cowboy? You insulate success. It's very easy to replicate success when you have all your back doors covered. Like, what if Pat Mahomes falls off? Don't worry. Why? Because we got a coach that can compensate for that. You know what I'm saying? What if this happens? Well, we have that can compensate for that. Go ahead, Boss Cowboy.
Let me ask everybody a question because I know some people might be scratching their head on how did you put Watson over Mahomes, Boss Cowboy?
Because he's done it multiple
But
years.
if I told you that the first 8 games of Mahomes was not even as good as Alex Smith, what would you say?
I mean, I can
Would
believe
you
it.
say that the system itself had a lot to do with his success? You know what I mean? When you look at Alex Smith in comparison, in his first 8 games, he was better almost in every metric over Mahomes. So, so it's not a knock on him because he still executed. He still was unbelievable. But it's one of those things I want to see him tested first. I want to see him with a bad offensive line. You know what I mean? I want to see him when his weapons are bad. I want to see him under duress before I make him number 1. Because I saw Watson under duress for 2 years straight. I saw him have to carry a team. Like literally out of all the quarterbacks we mentioned, it was really one who really carried him. Like really did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And who was Watson. So once I see him under duress, that's when I want to up his rank, and then somebody asked a good question, West Coast. They said, would my list be different if Wentz was not hurt? Yes.
Yes.
It would be higher.
It'd be way higher. But guess what? You know the thing about it, there, Boss Cowboy. I mean, if I say this, because people always say, but what if this happens? People never say what if, like, good stuff happens. Like, what if you win the lottery? Then guess what? Then I ain't got to worry about other stuff, and we're in Dallas every day. So guess what? What if I'm going to do the what ifs, I'll throw the what if on Tony Romo. What if Tony Romo never got hurt? He'd probably be the greatest quarterback of all time. But guess what? You still got to equate that into the situation. Because life happens.
You can't take it out
because it's so much a part of the game. You cannot.
And we do that a lot. We say, what if, like you said, what if Romo didn't get hurt, or what if Winston never got hurt? No, you gotta add that in.
You have to.
That happens. So we can't take that out of the equation to bump him up. Because it makes me sick to my stomach. It's like you hear this all the time. The best ability is what?
Availability.
You hear that all the time until it's time to count it for Dak. You know what I mean? Until when it's time to count it for Dak, now you want to take it away. Now you want to say, but if he was, if this was a fifth, I'll be drunk too. You know what I mean? So that's one of those things to where, like, let's keep it all the way fair. We see that Wentz is made of glass, and you have to factor that into his greatness. You have to weigh that into even where he ranks. If you just think you can take that out, you're not being fair to a real comparison.
Absolutely. And then think about this. What people will do also, what I've seen people do is this. They will use injuries as if they feel a player is purposely going out there to get injured. Like, I honestly think people be like, oh, well, Romo was always hurt. Well, you got to factor that in the game, but you got to understand that is not the point of them playing football, is to purposely get hurt. But guess what? That still has to be put into the salad. You know what I'm saying? You still have to put that into the salad of the equation. You want to know why? Because when they go to numerate these guys and pay these guys, you think they're not going to equate, you don't think they're not going to take that in consideration? I mean, honestly, as much as Jerry Jones said that they're not going to take Ezekiel Elliott's, I'm not going to say possible suspension because I don't like put it in the air, but whatever this situation is, this bubble of bad news, the fact that Jerry Jones said that they're not going to take it in consideration lets me know that what? They're going to take it in consideration. You know what I'm saying? Because all this stuff matters. In 2019, the goal of an NFL team is to pay you less.
Fact.
And I'm going to tell you who said that. My boy Camardi from the Jets. He said, West Coast, the goal of the NFL, everything, the owners' meetings, everything that is structured. Because think about this, Boss Cowboy. And I got, hey, y'all, I know y'all can't see him because he ain't said nothing yet. But, hey, I got a surprise guest right up here. A surprise guest. He ain't turned the song yet, but I'm gonna tell you this. He got us on mute right now, but he on, But hey, you know what I'm saying? We got us.
There it is. You off now. You ready?
I thought I hit it before, man. Is it me? Or you sound a little bit garbled.
He do. He got to turn it down a little bit, and he got to plug his Ethernet cord in. He thought we was gonna let him slip, bruh. Nah, we ain't gonna let that slip.
It is my Ethernet cord.
Oh yeah, it is.
I'm sounding like Robotech over here.
Okay, because I'm kind of old and stuff. Stuff kind of sounds funny to me, which may sound normal to anybody else. But Boss Cowboy, I am embarrassed to ask you this question. Okay, did I meet you in Dallas during the Philadelphia game?
You did.
I did. Because I was going through my pictures. I said, wait a minute, Boss Cowboy and me.
You did. You did.
Yeah, me, you, and your son, we took a couple of pictures, man. And then the crazy thing that you did, Mark, I don't know why you did it, but we was all sitting there, we was talking football, right? When all the players came in, it was
Travis Frederick.
It was Zach, and it was he, right? They all came in. And guess what OG Mark did? Mark grabbed me and said, "Come on."
Oh yeah.
I didn't know what shit.
He just grabbed me and he said, "Come on." And so then he took me to the room, and then West Coast gave me the room. But Mark pulled me in there, like Mark was like, "Hey man, we getting ready to interview these guys." He pulled me and said, "Come on." I said, "God, no."
Hey, Boss Cowboy, turn your mic down a little bit.
It's too loud.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
I always stay in trouble, man.
Yeah, man, I didn't know if you was supposed to do that, but you pulled me.
Man, you always politically correct. You got your people coming into my channel messing with me, and I'm just like, damn, man. I'm trying to look out for everybody. I didn't know, man. I didn't know.
That showed me a lot about you, man. And you could ask West Coast. Ever since then, I always spoke high. Because you didn't know me from Adam, but you was like, hey, man, this guy must be a good guy. And you just grabbed me and said, come on, we're getting ready to interview these guys. And I didn't even know you, We were just talking football, so you could have been, pulling this. But obviously, we was vibing good because you trusted me real quick. You said, come on, let's go. We're getting ready to interview these guys. And grab me.
Yeah, because it might get me in trouble. It's like, oh, this guy's a loose cannon, man. But my apologies on that one because I didn't realize that we had met stuff. But, you got to understand, I am old. I'm old, man. And I get forgetful and everything else. So, but I'm glad I could jump in here with you guys a little bit tonight. I hear you were talking about Tony Romo, and I see you trying to stir some shit up, right?
Oh, no. It actually wasn't. We was more so kind of ranking the 2016 and 2017 quarterbacks. And mine was maybe a little bit out the box. And we only brought up Romo just to kind of make a case, that injuries do matter. And you have to put that in the gumbo.
Yeah, but no, hold. Stop. Let me ask you this. Is Bo Jackson in the Hall of Fame?
No. Bo didn't play long enough, though. Bo didn't play long enough.
Because I got to tell you, what he did was unbelievable. And had he stayed healthy, you can't tell me that he wouldn't have been the most electrifying running back of all time. But unfortunately, what happened?
He got injured. He got hit. He got hit by Cincinnati Bengals. Broke his hip. He was done.
And, that's where you got to look at it and say, I appreciate what Romo did. And I know Romo fans are going to probably be cussing me out here in a minute. But I'm sorry, you got all these records, with the Cowboys and everything else, but you got to look back and say it was different eras that they played in. And that's part of the reason why those numbers are as big as they are. But I'm not sure that on what his playoff record and everything else is going to be enough to go ahead and get him in there. I'll be honest with you. I look at Eli Manning and say Eli Manning shouldn't go into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, keep it
Got
real.
2 rings and 2 MVPs.
To make it in the Hall of Fame, it's really not really about. It is about your accomplishment, but it's really about your accomplishment against your peers. And the thing that's gonna kill Romo is, yes, he played as good as his peers, but a lot of times his peers just had flat out better teams. You know what I'm saying? Like in 2014, Tony Romo was better than Aaron Rodgers. But guess what? Aaron Rodgers had a better team than Tony Romo, regardless of Tony Romo having to rush in the ramp or anything. You know what I'm saying? So it's that's why I think that Tony Romo, he's not gonna, does he have the stats? Yes, but when they're not gonna put like 4 or 5 quarterbacks in from one era. They're not gonna do that.
Not.
You know what I'm saying?
And he's going against Tom Brady.
Exactly.
There,
and he's exactly.
You've got Drew Brees who's going to be out there and things
exactly.
like that. So you've got other quarterbacks, look in there and say, because Donovan McNabb, and here's the thing with Donovan McNabb, who's out there talking about, I got better stats than Troy Aikman, which is goes back to the original thing. Troy Aikman had people around him. You know, this whole argument that Dak Prescott has to have people around him. Troy Aikman had a hell of a lot of people around him and didn't have to have great numbers, but he's got those Super Bowl rings and head of America's team. Unfortunately, what Tony Romo's going to be known for is the lack of the playoff success.
I actually think Tony Romo is going to make it into the Hall of Fame, and it's going to be in record time. And I hear your case, and I understand your case, because your case is based on merit. On merit alone, he doesn't deserve it. The main reason I think he's going to make it into the Hall of Fame, Mark, is because I think the Hall of Fame has now become more so about the networks trying to market themselves. It's not about if you deserve it. You know what I mean? That's why you see people like LaDainian in there, right?
Man, LaDainian Thompson. LaDainian Thompson. Nah, I'm sorry. Nah, you gotta go look at LaDainian Thompson made.
He killed it on rushing, but he also didn't have a lot of success in terms of rings. And then same thing we can say in terms of production, who had a short career with the other running back from Denver. And he got in the Hall of Fame. And I'm just thinking,
I think I'm gonna be. Hey, can I ask you guys
that these networks want to validate themselves, because at the end of the day, I think it's about money. When you're analyst and one of your top paid analysts, you can put on their resume and say Hall of Fame Tony Romo analyst. It makes your network have more validity, and everybody wins. So from merit, I think you did right, Mark. You know, I think he doesn't deserve it and shouldn't get it. But from capitalism, I think capitalism is going to push him over. And everybody really loved Romo. Romo is a very likable guy. And I think that reason alone, because if it was just truly based on numbers, why did they take T.O. through the ringer like that? You see what I'm saying? So it's some politics that can be ways into it as well.
Always go in there. That's the reasons why they keep you out, because Charles Haley was the first man and only the second one to get 5 rings.
I mean, look at Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens is the biggest case of that. Like bigger than Charles. Like you can hate him or like him, but bro, there's only one other person in the world who has more receiving yards than Terrell Owens, and his name is Jerry Rice. There are 2 other receivers who have less yards than Terrell Owens, who got into the Hall before he did. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm saying, like, honestly, that Terrell Owens is a way bigger case than anybody on the politics when it comes to politics. But go ahead. I apologize for cutting you off. Terrell was my first Dez. I'm sorry.
but you know, because I mean, okay, come on, let's go through. I'm gonna pull up this stats real quick because I can't remember them offhand. But you know, when you talk about having Aaron Rodgers out there right now, you know, who's got a ring and known as the bad man, and like I said, Drew Brees and Tom Brady and stuff, they're not going to.
And don't forget Phillip Rivers.
Phillip Rivers with Tony Romo with 3,400 yards and only 248 TDs. I'm sorry, there's nothing on that resume, and I know I'm gonna get hate mail and stuff on it, but I'm sorry, Tony Romo is not deserving to be in there for that. Not for that. And I hear what you're saying that, you know, it's a
money.
I don't care about that money, because there are a lot of guys that should be. I mean, you can look at Woodson. Woodson should be in there. He was, an analyst and everything else, working for ESPN and stuff. And he's the Dallas Cowboys' all-time leading tackler. Yeah, he's not in there. I mean, do you honestly believe that Tony Romo played a Hall of Fame career? Because I look at going in there and seeing like Ken Stabler, I see, Roger Staubach, I see Troy Aikman. I see people that changed the game, people that were instrumental in winning Super Bowls and things like that. And, I just don't see that from Tony Romo. Tony Romo was a very good quarterback. Very good quarterback. But you're really judged on that one thing?
Yeah.
What is it that 32 teams all go for?
Yeah, go for the run, and honestly, not even to take rings in consideration, because Archie Manning ain't got no rings, and he ain't even have a winning season in the NFL, and he is in the Hall of Fame right now.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So and now this is where my thoughts on it is this. Tony Romo it's about who you are going to be going. Tony Romo is this is the best analogy I could give. He's in the exact same situation that Klay Thompson's in. And the situation is this. When they go to vote for all pros in basketball, they say Steph Curry, they say Kevin Durant, Should Klay Thompson be in there? Yes. But guess what? They're not going to give 3 Golden States that opportunity. Exact same thing with Tony Romo. When you look at the quarterbacks who he's against, Tom Brady, a gang of rings. Philip, I'm going to tell you a quarterback that is silently a Hall of Famer that nobody ever talks about, but I've watched him my entire career, and he is single-handedly the only player I've ever wanted the Cowboys to trade person for person for, and that's Philip Rivers. There was a time where I wanted the Cowboys to trade. I wanted to trade him and Matthew Stafford. I went back and forth. But if you go look at Philip Rivers' stats, bro, he's Hall of Fame. Like them yardage, and you got to think about it like this: it's the writers, it's the writers, it's not it's the old school writers that are picking this, and the other people in the hall, they're gonna value that. That's why I think like these new age quarterbacks, like the Dak Prescotts and the Lamar Jacksons, it's gonna be hard for them guys to get in the hall. Because they're going to have to be...
You just actually brought up an interesting point.
It's going to be really hard for them guys to get in the hall because they're like the Jackie Robinsons of their style of quarterback playing. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to get time for them to get used to that. So that's why I think when it comes down to it, man, you got Tom, you got Phillip, you got Breeze, and you got freaking
Aaron Rodgers.
Andrew Rodgers. And I'm gonna tell you something else that's going to go against him. They all are continuing to play. So think about this. When it comes time to be eligible, they'll be most fresh because they just finished playing. Tony Romo quit 2 years ago.
West Coast, you brought up an interesting point too, because as you put it, it's the writers are the ones that are going to be voting him in. And when you think about the narrative about the Dallas Cowboys and Tony Romo was always known as Tony Ono.
Yep, they don't like him.
The guy who couldn't win the big one. Tony Romo was known as the guy who couldn't play in December. So that's what you're facing with those guys that are going to have to vote him in. And like you said, if you end up taking Tony Romo, then you got to take Eli. You got to take, like you said, Philip Rivers. You got to take Aaron Rodgers. You got to take Tom Brady. And let's see, who else do we need?
Well, Tom's getting in. Philip,
Tom is.
Well, who are you guaranteed?
Not even get the 5 years to have to wait. You know,
Mark, OG, who's your guarantee? Let's just say it like this: who are your from the Tony Romo era? Who are your guaranteed? Can we say because we got 3 people on here? Who would we say are the guaranteed guys getting in? Tom
Brady, of course.
Tom, we can say Tom.
I'm going to say because for the sentimental, I will say actually Drew Brees because he's
no doubt.
Tom and Drew, that's 2 right there, right?
That's no doubt.
Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers is getting in.
Of course, yeah.
That's 3.
Ballot.
And then if they got 3 quarterbacks, there's no way they're putting in 3 That's 3 right there. There's no way. And then you still got
Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh, 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, he getting in for sure.
So that's what I'm saying. There's so much. For them to put Tony Romo in, like,
I'm gonna tell you how they gonna get Romo in.
I see what you're saying, though, boss. Because what you said made a lot of sense too.
They're gonna get Romo in over the story. It's gonna be how they tell the story.
I'll support it.
Undrafted free agent, who was at the bottom, who was almost cut. If if Quincy wouldn't have had the bout with drugs, he probably would have been cut. They gonna romanticize the story so smooth, man.
Yeah, man, that sounds like a great Lifetime movie now.
But it's not gonna move. I don't think that's gonna move the Hall of Fame, though. I don't think that's gonna
argue your case on merit. On merit, you're right, Mark. I'm thinking about it's almost like when you like a guy, you make room for that guy. You create stories for that guy when you like a guy, and he is killing it too much on television. For people not to say, man, let's just go on.
Nah.
Okay. I'm willing to put money on it. I will make a public wager right now that Romo is getting in this Hall of Fame.
Y'all can do that on the side, man, because in the state of California, it is illegal to put Lakers, so we do not support that at all. But I just want to let you know, if you want to put some push-ups on, I don't know if Mark Home back good for it, but I put him on there, Mark, because I love me some Tony Romo, but I don't want to make nobody mad, but honestly, 2 people that they deserve to be in the Ring of Honor, but they don't have Hall of Fame, they don't have it, is Tony Romo, and I don't want to say it out loud, Drew Barrison. You know what I'm saying? If you heard what I said, you know what I said.
Who?
I ain't gonna don't say that out loud.
I didn't hear who you said.
You know what I said.
I did not. No, honestly, I did not.
You gonna make me say it
I
again
turned
on
down
air?
my volume because my man's blowing my eardrums.
You ain't gonna make me. You gonna make me say it again on air, Mark? That's messed up,
Yeah.
OG. I said Tony Romo, and Drew Pearson. Hey, I'm sorry, y'all. I went and did. Hey, stop. Hold on. I went and looked at the stats, bro.
Well, no,
I
but
love
see,
Drew, but he don't have. I know people be wanting to say West Coast, they doing Drew wrong, but I went and looked at the stats, y'all. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but and the problem for him is he's playing against the Steelers. Okay.
But I'm just saying. That's your era. I'll let you speak on it, Mark. Go ahead, Mark.
You've also got other guys in there that should be thought of before Tony Romo. Emerson Moss.
Yeah.
And Woodson.
True.
Woodson deserves to be in there. Yeah.
They should be over him, no doubt.
If they put Romo in and don't have those two guys, come on, man.
We're not fair, and we know it's not fair already.
So if you could give one Cowboy the nod out of all the Cowboys that have been screwed, and we got to decide on one. I think this is a good article. A good article. I think this is a good article coming up. If you could give one Cowboy the nod who has not gotten the nod, who would it be? Because I think it would have to be Woodson, man.
Woodson.
It would have to be.
No doubt, Woodson.
Dallas Cowboys all-time leading tackler, part of a dynasty.
Yeah.
We got Peter saying.
Yeah, I mean, a safety that can come down and cover the nickel. I mean, cover the number 3. You'd never have to worry about nickels. Oh man, you can't. You don't find a guy like that in like 40 years.
Oh, Nathan just said something. Oh my God, I forgot about. Say, OG. What about Hollywood? Hollywood
Henderson?
You know it, man. What about Too Tall?
Green was short.
What about Too Tall?
Right, too tall. Yeah, and see the problem. And here's the other problem that you have, boss Cowboys. You know, my man that I've met is you look at how many Dallas Cowboy players are already in there from all those different eras already. There's already the whole thing where people feel like there's too many Cowboys, and like you just put it, you know, Ed Too Tall Jones. How the hell is he not in? I mean, you're talking about a generational type of player. So, I mean, there's so many ones that are more deserving than Tony Romo. I'm sorry, and I know the Romo section is going to be coming out the closet. They're going to be coming after me and everything else, but I'm sorry. I don't think he's got it.
Hey, you got to remember.
I actually made my case.
Hey, can I say something real quick? Hey, you guys got to remember, the reason why Hollywood Henderson's stats are so weird is because for a large portion of his career, they did not count sacks. So we feel he's a great player, and think about this: there's like 4.5 years of his career, the beginning of his career, where the NFL counted sacks as tackles. You know what I'm saying? So you got to remember that when you're looking, you got to see the whole picture. But if you look, Hollywood Henderson was one of the best linebackers. Come on, man, y'all. I ain't even about to get into all that, but go ahead, man.
So I'm gonna say this: if it was
Too Tall. I apologize for that.
Guys, if it was really about playing merit, then those guys would be in. So if we're making a merit case, then we're not making a case based on precedent, are we? No. So partially we have to look at it for how it is, that partially the Hall of Fame is about popularity. It is.
Okay.
No, but you got to remember the Cowboys were dominant too, so you can't. They basically punished us for being really good. Remember when the Pro Bowl happened and we sent 11 guys to the Pro Bowl and everybody was like, "Well, why the Cowboys get so many players? Because we had a really good team."
About merit, that showed. Because if it was about merit, if it was about what you really earn and deserve, Darren Wilson would have been in, and he would have been first.
Go ahead, OG.
Let me put this one thing in here. I'm gonna read this real quick. Drew Brees, 74,000 yards. Peyton Manning, 71.
They're both getting in.
Brett Favre. We forgot about Peyton Manning.
Oh my God, we forgot about Peyton Manning.
Okay. Brett Favre, 71,000. Tom Brady, 70,000. Dan Marino, 61. Ben Roethlisberger, 56. Eli Manning, 55. Phillip Rivers, 54. John Elway, 51. Warren Moon, 49 plus the 21 in Canada. Fran Tarkenton, 47. Matt Ryan, 46. Carson Palmer, 46. Vinny Testaverde, 46. Drew Bledsoe, 44. Dan Fouts, 43. Aaron Rodgers, 42. Kerry Collins, 40,000. Joe Montana, 40,000. Johnny Unitas, 40,000.
What, Tony Romo?
That's the top 20. You've got Carson Palmer. You got Kerry Collins with more yards than Tony Romo. Sorry. I'm looking down that list.
Yeah, and let me defend myself because there's some folks that's giving me hell right now for my Drew Pearson comment. But like, yo, I love Drew P. Like, Drew Pearson's probably the one player that I probably bump in like we know Drew P. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know Drew P. And I love Drew. But I'm just saying, like, even if you ask, because I remember the first time I met Drew Pearson, he kind of embarrassed me a little bit, but not a lot, because I had to go back and realize what he said. Because what he told me is, I was like, I'm here with the legendary Drew Pearson who made the great 88. And he said, no. He said, I didn't make it great. He said, Michael Irvin made 88 great. He's the one that actually made the 88 great. I was the first to wear it and start that legacy. And that came out of Drew's mouth. Now
here's the other thing with Drew Pearson, though, where I kind of have to say maybe it's a little different because of the Dallas Cowboys dynasty and having the Hail Mary play being part of his icon, because that play is iconic. Because
go.
Because if you're talking about sentimental reasons for Tony Romo to be in, there's nothing more sentimental than that play right there in itself.
But that's one play versus
all the way
career?
down to 30 seconds to get in career passing to get to Tony Romo. I mean, you've got guys like Steve DeBerg, Jim Hart, and Jim Everett, and even Jay Cutler.
Who have more yards?
In more yards. Jay Cutler has more yards than Tony Romo.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest with you, that is a major category. Like, that's a definition. You know how they say if you're not a man unless you're strong and tough, you're not a quarterback unless you can throw the ball.
Matthew Stafford even has more. And, when you look at some of these guys like Jim Hart, you're talking about when they really didn't pass the football.
You said Jim who?
Jim Hart.
Hey, what about, can I ask you a question? What about, okay, so he don't got it in yards. Where Tony Romo in touchdowns? Actually scoring points. Give me that.
Let me look it up.
Let me find out. Now let me defend myself on Drew P, because I love me some Drew. But what I'm saying is this: his best season was 8 as far as touchdowns, 8 seasons. Now I know they didn't throw the ball a whole lot back then, and I'm not trying to knock him off that. But if you're looking at his stats, he definitely deserves to be in the ring. But as far as the Hall of Fame, man, my boy Drew has in 12 years, he had 7,800 yards. That's less than almost 800 yards a season. You know what I'm saying? So, I think when they look at what the receivers were doing in that era, even though they weren't throwing the ball as much, they were throwing the ball more. So I think that's why, Drew doesn't get the nod. But I mean, I love Drew as a guy, and I love him as what he's done for this organization, man.
Well, Tony Romo is 22nd. He's got Drew Bledsoe ahead of him, Dan Fouts, Sonny Jurgensen, Dave Craig, Joe Montana, Vinny Testaverde, Johnny Unitas, Warren Moon, Carson Palmer, Matt Ryan, John Elway, Aaron Rodgers, Fran Tarkenton, Eli Manning has 360. Wow. Eli's got 112.
You know what this makes me feel like? It makes me feel like maybe Tony Romo does have all the records for Dallas Cowboys, but it just feels like maybe the Dallas Cowboy quarterback statistically just didn't throw the ball a whole lot.
Well, okay, here's the funny. Okay,
because that's what it makes me think. Like, it makes me think maybe we just didn't throw the ball a whole lot statistically. We didn't. Yeah.
See, here's the thing. There's a perception and then there's reality, because Troy Aikman is 73rd with only 165 touchdowns. Troy Aikman only had one season where he threw more than 20 touchdown passes. But see, everybody has this idea that, oh my God, Troy Aikman, he was a great passer. He's throwing. No. The Dallas Cowboys' identity has always been to be a running team.
Yep.
Tony has we've always had a great running back, because look at you got Tony Dorsett, Hall of Famer. You got Emmitt Smith, Hall of Famer. Zeke Elliott, if he can stay out of trouble and play for 10 years, Hall of Famer. You follow me? Yeah. And it's always been that we have great defense, we have a ball control offense, and we have a whole lot of good people around. And that's the whole thing that everybody keeps saying, well, we need, guys going to throw 5,000 yards. That's not the Dallas Cowboys' identity.
That's never been us. That's never statistically
been us. That's why when you look at these numbers and see people will be like, wait a minute, Troy Aikman only had 165 touchdown passes? Pat Mahomes can do that in like 3.5 years.
Hey, Mark, think about this. Think about this. He only threw 163 touchdowns, won 3 Super Bowls, though. Think about this. Tony Romo has, I think he has 240-some touchdowns, because Tony Romo has 100 touchdowns more than Troy Aikman and has 27 interceptions less than him. But people will still say that Troy Aikman is a better quarterback than Tony Romo. I do believe that Tony Romo is probably the second best quarterback of our franchise, but when you put it to the whole, it's a different picture.
And so from that point, like Wesco said this before, if you let people talk, they'll go ahead and answer their own questions. That's true. So one of the things Mark raised the point, he said, look at yards, right, as a measuring stick of whether Romo is deserving. But then if you also add in style of offense, you really can't look at yards, right? If you add more to the equation, right? So it's the same thing with Dak. It's people want the impossible with Dak. People want Dak to throw 300 yards, or 350, but they still want us to be a run-first team. Okay. You're asking for what's impossible. So when you have to factor in the style of offense, if you factor in greatness, that's why Aikman is in the Hall of Fame, because we obviously was a run-first offense. So if you look at him according to numbers, he look anemic. He looks like he's not worthy. But if you look at him according to when his numbers were called to throw the ball, he was amazing. You can say the same thing with Romo. You can say the same thing with Dak. And you can say the same thing with Aikman. You can say the same. So that's why we can't use yards, because we know we're a run-first team, and we've been a run-first team for most of these quarterbacks' careers. So when people look at it in its totality, they're going to have to not look at just yards as a measure stick of Romo's greatness, because everybody, even Jerry said, I feel like I failed him because we learned how to build late. So they start getting it right after Will McClay.
Yeah,
and that's when Romo was starting to break down. And it was too late.
Yeah, I can rock with you on that, and I actually hope that prevails. I'm just being real with you, because if 9 goes to the Hall of Fame, I'm going to Ohio. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Somebody in Ohio told me that there's nothing good in Ohio, so I was like, I'm not going to Ohio, Cleveland. You know.
I tell you what, I've been to the Hall of Fame.
I know you have, but I'm just saying, when people from there,
you actually should go in there, because you're gonna see some stuff that you will not believe that's in there and stuff, man.
I believe it, but what I'm saying is, it'd be hot in the mug. So
face mask that they had that looked like you got a bird beak around your nose and stuff, that looked like, maybe it was from like a Klan rally or something like that. When you see these helmets that have like the cage that wraps around them and everything else, it's like, damn, did they actually wear some of this stuff? But it's actually worth the trip to go. And when I went was 2013, when Larry Allen went in, and it was unbelievable. I mean, it truly was a great event. But here's the thing, that is a misnomer, because there's fact and there's reality. Because if you go through some of Tony Romo's best years, where he's thrown over 4,000 yards and stuff, are some of the worst years we had. 2011, threw for 4,184 yards, and we're 8-8.
But that was probably because he had to.
Yards, 8-8. So having a whole lot of yards is not necessarily winning football. In fact, I will go through and say, I would have rather, when we played Matt Flynn's Green Bay Packers, that we would have had less yards passing, because we passed more in the second half when we were up 26-3, and we ended up throwing that game away. We had 2 games against the Lions where we were up by 3 touchdowns, and we kept throwing the ball in the second half, and we allowed the other team to come back. And those are the things that people will look back and they'll say, you had opportunities. Yes, you had that great game against the Denver Broncos and stuff, but you had that pick at the wrong time. Now, granted, the defense did not bust the grape. I will say that it was on the defensive fault side for losing that game. If they had just one damn stop in that game, we would have won it. Well, we'll point to and say, well, Tony Romo, he choked. That's what they're going to say.
That's true.
And see, this is the thing. You look at 2014, Tony Romo only had 3,700 yards.
What?
But look what we were able to do with the team. It's because the team was back to the Dallas Cowboys type football.
Right.
We run the ball, control the clock. The defense wasn't great. They were only ranked 19th, but they got takeaways. There were the NFL getting the ball. And what always has worked in the Dallas Cowboys. It's always been their identity. The doomsday defense, the doomsday defense too, back in the '90s, and having a bellwether running back, and the quarterback then will make spectacular plays.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, because Roger Staubach always was Captain Comeback, but it's not like Dan Phelps that had to win the game every single week throwing 300 and 400 yards.
Yeah, and also think about this too. Think about this. I also because I think a lot of people get this thought of Romo. Did he? I don't think there's ever. You cannot tell me that someone choked their career when the very record that you love to hang over Dak as Mr. Comeback. Well, guess what? He took that record from Romo. Romo had that record first. So you can't say that Romo was a choke if he had the exact same record that Dak Prescott had.
I'm not saying that he is.
Yeah, but I just want to clear that up. But also, this was what you also got to think of too. In those years that we were 8-8, I don't say that it was because we were more dependent on Romo throwing. It's because we had to. I think if you go into any team and look at it where your quarterback is required to throw the ball 35 and 45 times, guess what you're going to do? You're going to have more opportunities to throw more interceptions. That's just obvious. You know what I'm saying? Just like when they say, and I'm not knocking that because that's my quarterback, but don't come at me talking about someone's great with the ball. If you throw the ball 24, 25 times on average, bro, that is obviously you're going to have less times to throw interceptions. That's a part of the game. I'm okay with that. But what I'm saying is when we had Romo, our offense was predicated on us throwing the ball 40 times. When you throw the ball
successful doing that
exactly, and guess what? Exactly. But what I'm saying is you can't put that on Romo, because that's what the offense was. Think about this. There are a ton of offenses that throw a lot of interceptions. And guess what? You never think about it. Matt Ryan throws interceptions. You never think about it. Why? Because he's throwing 4 and 5 touchdowns. Say it again.
Listen, because the Dallas Cowboys, here's the thing. You see, if Dak makes a bad play, it is played on SportsCenter, it's played on First Take, it's played on NFL Network and stuff. But guess what? Matty Ice makes it. It's not going around the rounds. So you see Dak Prescott, you see Tony Romo breaking down all the time, and you figure this is the only guy that's got these issues because he's the only guy that really will cover that way. You don't see, Jameis Winston, all the plays and stuff he has, or Ryan Fitzpatrick, all the interceptions he throws. You see, if it's game or it's bad statistics, Dak Prescott, they'll show. Because here's the thing that's interesting. If you go through 2014, how many games do you think that Tony Romo threw for over 300 yards?
Not many. We were blowing 24-14. We were blowing teams out. The run game was killing folks.
One time.
Yeah, not many.
300 yards in 2014.
And I think that was in London, right? When we played the Rams.
One game. But see, everybody's thinking that Tony Romo, because it's perception versus reality. Everybody's thinking, well, Tony Romo's throwing for 300 yards every game. If Dak Prescott has to throw for 300 yards every game, we're losing a lot of games.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's not the way this team is done.
Yeah.
People keep talking about dinking and dunking. Well, you know what? Joe Montana dinked and ducked his way to 4 Super Bowls into the Hall of Fame because that offense, basically the West Coast, is a dinking and dunking offense, giving the wide receiver the ball where they can make a play. Because Joe Montana did not have the strongest of arms. And when we can go ahead and get 10, 12 yards in a pass play and stay in bounds and that clock is still running,
you stay effective.
We're controlling the tempo of the game. When you go down and you're throwing bombs left and right, you're taking off 6-7 seconds off the clock if it's an incompletion or the guy goes out of bounds. And we've had more times where we've left too much damn time on the clock. You are better off being able to control the tempo, and then when your defense comes out on the field, they're fresh and they're ready to rock and roll.
Absolutely.
I want to make one more statement on Romo, and then I want to go to 2019 if y'all okay with that.
Well, go ahead. I want to finish something up. Go ahead. Say what you got to say. I might have a rebuttal to it.
Like, what made Romo great is also what made him very bad, right? Because, yes, he did have a lot of comebacks during the regular season, right? But in do-or-die games, when it was win or go home, we went home too many times.
Bro, what are you talking about? We did the same thing with Dak, man. Stop this. Stop it right now. Bro, we are 1-4 again in comeback games with Dak right now.
I got facts on this. I'm talking about do-or-die.
Do-or-die games, we're 1-4 with Dak right now. Do or die. 2016, we lost against Green Bay. Okay, but I'm saying, man, stop with this dude.
We can talk about Dak. We can talk about Dak too.
Come on.
I'm talking about Romo.
Come on. Dude, come on.
But I'm talking about Romo right now. And
Do or die with who? Who else was on that team? Who do or die with who?
It's the Giants.
But with who? Who else was on the team? Who else was on the team?
Look. I'm talking about what he did in the key moments when we needed him not to. So when it comes down to do or die games, Romo died a lot. Now
With what team? That's what I'm saying. With what team? So did Dak not do the same thing in LA?
You gotta let me finish. I answer what
Man,
team.
come on.
Like to say he did not do that is just not recording right history. Because actually, if you look up in Google right now,
Bruh, so he's
if you Google right now, Romo costly turnovers, ESPN got top 5 costly Romo turnovers.
and look at the score. Look at the score. Look at the score.
Are you gonna let me finish?
Look at the score. No, because bro, that's
I'm talking about top
look at the
5
score.
It happened over 5 times, Wes, because I know it hurt.
Bro, it ain't about nothing hurt. It's about no. It's not about nothing hurt. It's about the facts, bro.
He's in the Hall of Fame, so I'm obviously not hating on Romo. I'm spitting the facts on Romo in do or die games. Now in regular season, he killed it. Like we know he was killing comeback in regular season, but when it was like you gotta win this game or it's over with, usually at the end, it was Romo at the end that threw a costly interception.
Bro, that is, and you know what? And this is what I have to say. This is what I have to say to this.
Now, this is what makes me say this. And then I'm gonna let you have it. You can say you can love Romo all day. I'm cool with that.
No, because it's not about no. Let's use the correct terminology, because when you say love on Romo, you're insisting that I'm saying this because of my love for Romo. No, that has nothing to do with it. In each game, there has never been a do or die game where Tony Romo did not have to score over 30 points. Go look at those stats. You tell me in 5 games. No. This is what I'm saying. And because I know the article you're talking about.
It happened 5 times to us, West Coast, under Romo on the last drive where we needed him not to make the mistakes.
And guess what he did before that?
And let me say this. I'm gonna say this to the day that I die. I'm gonna be right to the day that I die.
You're not gonna. If you
yards is way overrated, and ball protection is way underrated. That's why I would take a boring Dak all day over a gambling quarterback who don't protect the football.
Exactly, and exactly. Now,
I'm gonna give you the final argument here on Tony Romo.
Wait, hold on. Let me say my piece real quick. Let me say my piece. Not to get you, but I gotta say my piece, because this is what I don't like about the narrative about Romo. Is because the make or break games that we had to beat. Why are we even in those games? You tell me this: when we were 8-8. What player was keeping us in 3 seasons of 8-8? The first season of 8-8, we got eliminated week 15. The second season of 8-8, we got eliminated week 14. The third season of going 8-8, we got eliminated week 16. The very final game in the season. Now you tell me what quarterback has kept an 8-8 team, a team that's not even supposed to be in the playoffs, relevant. Now my question is this: why in the hell did we have to keep putting Romo in a position to put on a damn cape to go save our season 5 times? That's what I'm saying. We helped Romo way more than we helped Dak Prescott. Not even by helping him, but off of what we walked into. That's what I'm saying. That's the narrative of what I'm saying with Tony Romo, is because too many people get this, oh yeah, he threw an interception. Okay, he threw an interception against who? My boy Peyton Manning against the Denver Bronco games. But that was before he threw 4 touchdowns and 505 yards. But he threw the one costly interception. 1. So my thing is this: why was it that Tony Romo was required to score 35 and 40 points in order for us to win games? No help. That's what I'm saying. Dak doesn't have to do that. All Dak has to do is keep it close and get us one good drive in the 4th quarter, and we're going to win. Want to know why? Because he has help. He has assistance. So that's all I'm saying. That's the main thing I'm saying with Romo. Don't try to preach this, oh, he threw in costly games in make or breaks, because if that's the case, why is Dak not in the same conversation then? Why do you have that same faith in Dak if that's the case? Because I can name you 4 go-home games in the last 3 years that we've lost. But hold up, let me finish. The first one was Green Bay. The second one was Seattle when we got Ezekiel Elliott back. That was a win or go home game. We lost that game. What else? Now let's think about the 2 games this year. When we went to Indianapolis and we were supposed to win that game to win a division, I think that's a pretty important game. Well, we lost that game. And since we're going to count the Rams game, shoot, bro, they're in the same boat. Whenever you put a team in a position where it is 100, where your quarterback has to move and do things, unless it's Tom Brady, bro, you always going to have faults. Okay, so that's what I'm saying.
We're getting a little too passionate here.
Oh, no, man, this is what they pay to see.
Let me tell you where you're messing up. You count the loss as if the loss itself was on Dak.
And you did the same thing. And you did the same thing. You did the same thing. And no. And you did the same thing.
I'm 5 seconds into what I'm saying.
I actually have to go.
Go ahead.
Let me, because this is not my I have a wife that I got to make sure.
Dak don't turn the ball over like Romo. He led the NFL in turnovers. That's what I'm talking about. He fumbled the ball. What are you talking about?
Okay, so I'm saying it.
That's what I'm saying. Dak had 11 fumbles this year. 11 fumbles this year, but he don't turn the ball over like Romo.
This is what I'm saying. In the last drive, where the quarterback has to throw the win.
Why did he have to throw the win? We're up. He didn't have 400 points.
Let's go. We fine. Go ahead, bro. You got it. Okay. We can go to 2019 now.
Okay. Now, what we want to believe and stuff. And I'm just telling you, I'm trying to give you my perspective on it. But here's the thing. When you talk about win and go home, in the playoffs, Tony Romo has averaged 219 yards, 1.3 touchdown passes per game, and a 61 completion percentage.
Yeah.
And can I ask you a question? Now let's name the weapons. He had a young Dez, and not even giving any excuses. The team, that's what I'm saying. Tony Romo right now, we can say all that, but he has 2 playoff wins. He has 4 playoff losses. Dak Prescott in the exact same situation. So this is what I'm saying. You cannot be this I don't like when people have this negative connotations toward Romo, but then they look at Dak and has the exact same stats, but then you see confidence. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense at all.
Not the same. I'm saying the last drive.
On the last drive, excuse me. So we didn't have the last drive in it. So we didn't have the last drive. We didn't have the last drive. We needed the last drive in LA. And what happened on 4th and 1? We got stopped. What are you talking about? We had the 4th in LA and we got stopped.
Was that on Dak, man?
Well, my question is this: did Dak call the play? The third down was. The first down was. Hey, go ahead, Mark Holmes. Let them know where you. Hey, Mark Holmes. Let them know where they find you at.
All right, but hey, you can check me out on Monday and Friday nights on Jobu Sports Report and all that. I would love to get going, but I've got some paperwork I got to take care of because I do have to have a day job. But I appreciate you guys having me on. Everybody, check out
Ryan
Dallas Cowboys outing, and be sure to subscribe to their channel and everything else. So thank you guys for letting me be on here. But I got to go.
Yeah, hey, I'm going to tell y'all right now, we are not settling down. It is June 4th. If this is not what you really want, that real adulterated cowboy talk, then subscribe. I mean, for real, you know what I'm saying? This is June 4th. We have nothing else to do today. Boss Cowboy, what do you have to do today?
I'm chilling, but enjoyed you all the time. Come back.
Okay, everybody, I got to go out of here. We were just joining in on West Coast live stream and stuff, and I got to go spend some time with my wife. So thank everybody for being here, and I am just all right, so Mark, we got Mark Holmes, Let's go. We can continue. We can move to 2019. All right, hell no. We here.
Keep going? Okay.
We gonna keep going. We keep going for a little bit. This is the thing. Hey, this is let me say y'all something. Let me tell you something. Everybody come close to the camera. Come close to the camera. This is what we do. This is what we do. You know those conversations that we rarely never tell you guys about, and I'll be like, yeah, me and Boss had a disagreement the other day about da-da-da-da-da. This is what we do. You know what I'm saying? It's June 4th. We have no breaking news and nothing else to talk about. If y'all want to change the subject, throw it in there. We'll change it. But until then, I'm disagreeing. You better not say nothing about Tony Romo. We getting it. Go ahead, Boss Cowboy. Go ahead.
Man, I don't even want to talk about Romo, man. God, man.
Hey, but this is an example why we don't talk Romo and Dak, right?
Yeah, man, because you go crazy.
You go crazy talking about he threw interceptions in costly moments. Like, bro, why did he even have to throw? Why are you throwing in costly moments? Like, why does Tony Romo always have to save the day? That's what I'm asking. Tony Romo led the NFL with 28 career comebacks. Now, this is my thing. It's like blackjack. It's like a better example is this. It's like Babe Ruth. Everybody talks about all the home runs he hit. Yeah, he led the NFL in Major League in home runs. But nobody ever talks about Babe Ruth also leading the Major League in strikeouts. Why? Because guess what? Tony Romo was the only quarterback that kept constantly put in a situation where he had to win. And guess what? You don't notice that Dak is doing the exact same thing? Like, why is Dak in a position where he keeps having to win? You don't see too many quarterbacks where they single-handedly have to have moments in game where they win it. Maybe that's a question we should talk about, Boss Cowboy. Because it almost seems like statistically we don't have very many team wins.
Well, this is what I'll say. Everybody got to do their job. Right? And the part of a quarterback's job in the final 2 minutes of the game is to drive the field, the length of the field for a W, and protect the football. That is where, in my opinion, it don't have to be anybody else's opinion. In my opinion, that's where I think Dak is better. As somebody who is a little bit more courageous with the football, that's going to take more chances with the football, that has a super gift in touch, that's Romo. Right? So, but that's not all the factors that's going into any quarterback. So you have to have a combination of it all. So when it comes down to those final drives, I feel like the person that protects the football and still is yet still able to drive the length of the field better, in my opinion, nobody have to agree with this, is Dak Prescott.
Now, can I ask you a question? Do you don't think that the amount of times that Romo kept having to be put in that situation? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Same thing we can say for even Tom Brady, because there's only one person that's leading Dak Prescott in game-winning drives, and that's Tom Brady. But he still is under the same standard, which also means that New England, as a team, made Tom Brady have to pull it out in the final drives, right? And yet he did, because that's also a part of what made him great. Matter of fact, coming out of Michigan, his nickname was the comeback kid. So the same pedigree that he showed and displayed at Michigan still maintained throughout his career. And I feel like some people have it when it's in the clutch, and some people don't. It's the same thing I could say with LeBron James.
But Mike, asking you, are you saying that Romo doesn't have it because that's statistically?
I'm saying Dak is better at that particular thing.
I disagree.
And that's fine. That's why I said nobody had to agree.
Yeah.
It's my opinion. And in my opinion, the person that protects the ball better in clutch moments and drives the length of the field better, and that's right now, in my opinion, outpacing Romo in terms of the pace, it's Dak. And not only that, he's outpacing everybody when it comes down to that. So the people that you can measure, because you can kind of measure clutchness to a degree, is when you're in those clutch moments. And the people that seem to pull it out in the clutch moments are Brady
and Tony Romo, because Tony Romo, the record that Dak Prescott has right now, was held by Tony Romo. So if you're just saying, if you're saying in history, how can you say that you'll take Dak Prescott and then say that you know that Tony Romo is a more prolific passer? If you're coming back, Dak Prescott is not out. He had I'll give him the pass in the New York Giants. But if you go look at Dak's comebacks, it is not because of his arm. It is because of his scrambling ability and moving his feet. That's what the film says.
And that's fine.
So that's what I'm saying. So can I ask you a question? How many?
I don't care if you stand on your head and do it.
Exactly, but you can't. But exactly, but you're counting turnovers.
As long as he's getting it done.
But you're counting turnovers. But Dak's not in a position to turn over the ball in the fourth because he's not throwing it. Dak also had 11 fumbles. So don't talk to me about fumble. Oh, so it's not as bad as he fumbles in the first quarter because he don't fumble in the fourth. Like, that didn't work well with DeMarco Murray. We all still feel kind of way about him. My thing is this. You cannot hold turnovers on Dak where we over on Romo when we know Dak doesn't even throw the ball like that in the fourth. Bro, he on the two comebacks that we had, two of them, Amari Cooper caught 7 and 12-yard passes and took them 80 and 63 yards. Now I know Dak threw the ball. I know he did. He did throw the ball. But I'm just saying, who was Romo throwing the ball to? When we were 8-8, 3 years in a row, he up here trying to make backups. Bro, I say like this. This is one thing I will say. I do believe that the Dallas Cowboys love Dak Prescott more than they love Tony Romo as a quarterback. I believe that. Why? Because they have really changed the culture and the make of this team to fit Dak Prescott. Something they really never did with Tony Romo. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to tell you something else. With kids, my last thing I'm going to say about kids, it's kind of like when kids, like they say you chastise those who you love. A lot of times, they just let Tony Romo do what he wants. You know what I'm saying? With Dak Prescott, they keep those reins on him. So we might know. But go ahead, Boss Cowboy, man. Go ahead.
Let me ask you a question.
Shoot.
Is there anything that you believe Dak Prescott does better than Romo?
Do I, at this point of his career right now?
Yeah, anything.
Yes, absolutely.
What are those things?
Escape and evasion. Meaning avoiding the first contact inside the break. I think he does that very well, better than him. I also think that Dak Prescott runs but he runs a faster 2-minute offense. Why? Because he has the threat of his feet. That's what I think. I also think that Dak Prescott is a better red zone threat than Tony Romo. But you also got to think about this. Tony Romo didn't really see the red zone a lot. Why? Because a lot of his passes were caught in the end zone. So it's different types of passing. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to be honest with you. Can I say something? At 3 years of his career, no, there's not a lot of stuff that I think that Dak is better than Tony Romo at. Only playing 3 years in the league, though.
I just asked, was it anything? Because the thing is, this is what I'm going to say. There are things that right now I think Dak is better than, and then there are things that I think Romo is better than. Now, sometimes when we get into those areas, people will disagree. So, and that's fine. You know what I mean? So, it's what I want everybody to know is that it's true that some things Dak is better than. I think Dak is a better runner. I think everybody would agree with that. He's a better threat with his legs. Everybody would agree with that. I think Dak protects the ball better. I think everybody would agree with that. Throws less interceptions. If you look at Dak in 45 games and you look at Romo in 45 games, it's a landslide in terms of turnover.
Bro, that's because one throws the ball one. But are you counting? Dak had 3 years of 10 fumbles.
Fumbles too in 3 years. Yes, it's true. So if I'm looking at turnovers, I think Dak protects the ball better. And so it's one of those things to where if you look at the numbers, it's clear. In 45 games, Dak protects the ball better in fumbles as well as in interceptions. So, but in other things, I feel like Romo was better. I think Romo took more chances with the football. I think Romo was smarter. I really do. I think Romo was even close to genius. I think Romo took charge a little bit better and would audible out of things that he didn't like versus Dak, to me, was a little bit more conservative and kind of stayed with the coaches. So as people go back and forth, there's going to be certain things that certain people go believe that Romo is better at certain things, and certain things Dak is better. But at the end of the day, it's 2019, and Dak is our quarterback, and
I say this. I'm just looking at these comments, man. I'm sorry, but at the third year of Dak's career, and where Tony Romo when he played, there shouldn't be many things that Dak should be better than Romo at. But I'm sorry, I'm not giving turnovers to Dak. I'm not, because if you go look at the amount of Dak only averages 24 attempts. For 16, he averaged 24 attempts. 24 attempts. So you're telling me Zeke ran the ball sometimes more times than Dak actually threw the ball. Yes, I'm saying that. Yes, I am saying that. So yes, when you only throw the ball 20 amount of times, bro, you should be prolific with interceptions. Like, it's 2016, that was the only really thing that I was really knocking on Dak. Like, yo, like, bro, of course you only threw 4 interceptions. I mean, look how many times you threw the ball. You only threw 24 touchdowns too. Like, honestly, like my boy Tony Romo said, if you ain't throwing a touchdown, if you ain't throwing interceptions, you ain't trying hard enough. And guess what? We can say that great season was good, but guess where it got us? The same place where Tony Romo got us. So, and that was knocked out in the first round. So I'm not saying there's no way knowing that Dak Prescott fumbled the ball 10 times within weeks 1 through 8. He fumbled 8 times out of his own physical hand. Had me on air saying, yo, maybe he should just use a glove. And think about this. In 2016, he fumbled 9 times. So Dak has always put the ball on the ground. Always. The only difference is in 2016, he did it and we were winning. So no, I don't believe he's better with turnovers. I just believe in the final, like, think about this, man. If Dak Prescott, in the most famous play of Dak Prescott's career, any play of Dak Prescott's career, what does he use to set the tone of the play? The bottom half of his body. His damn legs. Like, come on. That's why, even in the Giants game, that final play, bro, he breaks out to the right, throws the ball to Cole Beasley. Come on, man. That doesn't happen unless he moves his leg. That is Dak. That's why I'm saying now, that's why I be saying on air, like, yo, why don't we just tell Dak to pretend like it's the fourth quarter and the first quarter? So then maybe we don't have to come back so much. Because guess what? If you're going to pay your mortgage on a lottery, guess what? Sometimes, like Tony Romo did, it's going to strike out. Like, you can have the most comebacks in NFL history or in your era history, but guess what? Sometimes you're gonna strike out. Sometimes the defense is gonna read it and you're gonna throw interceptions. Why? Because you're constantly putting yourself in that position. What I want to see the Dallas Cowboys do is build a team where we don't have to consistently come back. I don't want Dak Prescott to have the most comebacks, and I don't want him to have that no more, because that's gambling. That's gambling. I don't want to gamble no more. I want to put teams away in the third quarter where most teams do it. You know what I'm saying? And if you look over to be honest with you, Boss Cowboy, on a bigger perspective, that's been pretty much what our lineage has been. Winning in the fourth quarter. Like, how much pressure are you putting on Dak Prescott? Now, let's talk about 2019. Because what I really don't want to see is what happened to Romo happen to Dak. We cannot keep making Dak put on his cape and go into the booth and save us a game. How often and how long do you think that's going to work? Before they start saying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, like, I'm looking at Tony Romo's first 45 games. He had 50 interceptions, 73 sacks, and 34 fumbles, and he lost 13 of those fumbles. Dak had 24 interceptions, he was sacked 105 times, and he fumbled 25, and he also lost 13 of those 25. So the total turnovers for Romo was 63 in his first 3 years, which is really year 6 for him, and the total turnover was 37. So the numbers clearly show, I mean, and you made a good case on style of offense, because you basically saying Romo was basically having to throw more under that offense. So you gave him a curve.
Yeah,
right?
Bro. Boss Cowboy, you're making an obvious point, bro. You're making an obvious point.
I'm showing you that I'm listening to the case and I'm being fair in your case.
Yeah,
right?
but you're not taking that in consideration. No, you're not being fair because you're not. Because you're not taking that in consideration.
You just said you gave him a curve, and I think that's fair. If you saying he had to throw it more, that means you're going to take more chances with the football. So I did factor that in at the very end. So if I was just over here trying to win, I would have just listed those numbers and I would have dropped my phone like I was right. No, what I'm doing is I'm saying, based on what you're saying, is that what accounted for those extra 27 extra turnovers in 3 years was the fact that he was throwing more. That's the case you're making, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Love you.
So, look, I'm ready to move to 2019, and I don't think there's nothing wrong with that argument. I think that's a fair argument, let's talk about
The biggest thing I think we need to take from Tony Romo is this, and that is what Jerry Jones said. I think every fan that has love for Romo feels that the opportunity that was wasted. I think that's the greatest, and honestly, that's what propels me for my love for Tony Romo, because the opportunity that was wasted. We cannot, as an organization, continue to bank on your quarterback to win you the game. There's too many variables.
Yeah, but the average win in the NFL is only about 4 points. So pretty much the game itself is competitive. Just period. And to me, that's what makes the difference between teams like the New England Patriots and everybody else, is they know how to close our games. And especially, when you say I want Dak to be able to put it away by the third quarter, that's just generally not the case for anybody. I don't care how good you are, because then that same theory would apply to Brady, because Brady is number one.
Yeah, but you do put him out. It's called points, bro. When you're only scoring 22 points per game, yeah, you're gonna be winning games in the fourth quarter. Brady does put teams out because they were scoring 28 points. Patrick Mahomes, guess what? They were in the final four of the tournament. Guess what? They were scoring 35 points. The way you put teams away is by scoring more points.
Brady is leading Dak in fourth quarter comebacks. That means that
they're losing more in the fourth quarter. That means Dak's teams are losing more.
So the standard, when you look at New England being number one, I don't want us to also grade on the curve that's not fair to Dak, to where we saying you got to put away teams in the third quarter. That hardly happens to anybody. It's not many teams that's ready to take a knee in the third quarter like we did the Jazz game.
But that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we can't be in situations where we have to win it in the fourth quarter. In 28 times lets you know that we have. That's what I'm saying, because Patrick Mahomes last year was only losing in 2 games going into the fourth quarter. I've already done these. He was only losing twice in the fourth quarter, going into the fourth quarter.
Style of offense, that's more than likely going to be the case, because we run a slower style of offense, meaning we're going to have less snaps.
So then guess what we got to do? We got to change it.
Slow the game down. So it really doesn't take that many offensive possessions by both teams to make it a competitive game. Now, if we was a shootout team, yeah, we should put them away. But we are a team that we run clock control. We try to control the clock. We have long, manageable drives to rest our defense. That's been our formula since 2014. So us putting away teams, I think, would only happen if we get way more efficient in the red zone.
That's what I'm saying. We have to score more points.
We should have put away the Giants game 1. And that game, we should have put 50 on them. I always said that because we was in the red zone too many times and came away with just 3 points.
Absolutely.
And that happened too much during the season. So one of those things that I would agree with you on, if we're going to have a chance to not be in a situation to help, to where Dak doesn't have to put it on his shoulders on the fourth quarter, or we don't need any fourth quarter wins, even if the team pull it out, because all of them, like you said, which is true, was not Dak. Some of those 14 was not Dak, and some of them really not at all.
On which one? On the sacks or what?
You said what now?
On the sacks or on what? On the touchdown?
No, on the 14 comebacks. They just give it to you because you're the quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. That's why the 28 is 28 comebacks.
Like 8. Really, when you look at games where Dak really pulled it out with his arm, it's more 8. But people go say 14, they go just round it up.
Yeah, just like in Major League Baseball, the pitcher gets the loss and they get the win.
Exactly. So it's one of those things to where I think just talking healthily about what's going to really help Dak and his offense is red zone execution. If we execute better in that red zone, I think it's going to be exactly what you said, to where we are not having to fight it out in the fourth quarter. And we'll be able to kind of do, because see, under Jason Garrett, we won a lot of games that was pretty much won by the fourth quarter, and we just needed to secure with the running game. That's why Millie and Barbie was so important, because in the fourth quarter, that's where we pounded you. You knew he was running, we still ran, and he still left the clock on first down. That's the real appropriate way to win, to kind of echo what you're saying,
Yeah.
But I also think it's a combination of things, you know, that should put us in this situation.
Yeah, and looking at the comment box, just talking about different things. 26 in the red zone. This is what I'm saying. The way you put teams away, exactly what we were saying, being more efficient. You like the inefficiency in the first quarter is not. That is you can't be inefficient in the first quarter, miss opportunities in the first quarter, and then come back and want to have the trope, wear the shirt of, oh, I have the most comebacks. Of course you have the most comebacks because you got the most drop-offs in the first quarter. How about we be more efficient in the first quarter? Then you won't have to have so many comebacks. You know what I'm saying? Because what I also notice about those teams that you say that, you know, because I know people are saying that, oh, that's all of the NFL. But guess what? Not all the NFL was 27th ranked in the red zone too, though. Tell me a team that's really good in the red zone, but that can't put teams away. Because, see, what happens is when you have a team like the Dallas Cowboys and you have big play ability, you're going to get more action at the red zone. We just got to score in the red zone. Just like what? Washington. Washington that game should have been over. Tennessee, that game should have been over. It should have been over. The Tennessee game could have been 21-6 going into the first half. But what happened? We were inefficient. That's what I don't like. I don't like when people are inefficient in the first quarter, but then they want a trophy for being comeback king in the fourth. No, bro, it's not like no. Especially when it's a consistent pattern. I want to ask you guys, how many games do you recognize, or you can recognize or recall when you know where you're like, dang, we should have scored 30 points. We should have scored because of this or because of that, because of inefficient, because of missing passes. This is what I'm saying, just like Bill Parcells. I'm sorry. I love my quarterback. I do believe he's going to be a winner, but I will never say somebody is a winner without winning something. That's what I'm saying. We are not in this to win games. We are in this to evaluate to the playoffs. So, if you're going to say Dak Prescott is a winner, you must say that Tony Romo is a winner because he's won just as much. And that's right. This whole conversation of Romo was hinged on that thought right there. Whatever you tone on Dak, you must give it to Romo because every record that Dak is breaking is Romo's. So how is he now sub less than him? Do I believe Dak will be better than Romo? Absolutely. By 3 years. I believe he will. I believe he will be. I believe Dak Prescott's going to be better than him. Want to know why? Because he has a 3-year jump on him. Like, Dak is easily where Tony Romo was year 7 or 8. And that's why the Cowboys want Dak as a quarterback. So the projection is there, but to be honest with you, I'm okay with saying Dak is not better than Romo right now in his career. He shouldn't. He's only been in the league 3 years. Like, people get all offended when I say that. Like, it's okay. Like, my wife is not a better cook than my mama. You want to know why? Because my mama's 63. She'll get there, though. My wife food really good, too. You know what I'm saying? But time comes with time. That's all I'm saying. Let's get into these. Melvin says we have to be able to take advantage of those overloaded boxes. Absolutely. That's a really good point. Let me read one of Bob's comments. He's been putting a bunch of comments in here. Bob, I didn't forget about you. I just didn't, I was reading stuff. So let me get you, man. He says, I really don't matter as long as you get the win, bro. Who was known as come back as we were winning Super Bowls. I mean, that's a really good point. At the end of the day, that's where it's supposed to be. Nathan says Romo won more than less than the right. I don't know. I don't say what you said. Jack, my boy Jack says Tony never won a playoff game. So we're gonna give Jack the slap yourself comment of the day. I'm gonna need you to slap yourself, Jack. I know you just playing because I know you're not serious about that because I know you've been a Cowboy. I can tell by the hair on your face you've been a Cowboy fan longer than that. But Tony Romo did win a playoff game. You know what I'm saying? Sure. He actually won 2 playoff games. But man. This has been, hey, you know what? I'm going to keep it real with y'all. I actually liked this show. And as long as we having shows like this in June, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, one thing about that red zone. And real quick, it's really no comparison really that should be made about Romo and Dak, even though we attempted to do it. Because really, right now,
good point. Good point.
It's too early. It's just honestly just too early. Like Romo didn't even start playing in year 4.
Yep, good point.
Dak is starting to going into year 4. We gotta really let that we gotta let both of their careers kind of get at least 3 more. Dak gotta get at least 3 more in, right? To where we can really kind of put it away. Because at this point, with anybody, it's gonna be passionate. It's just gonna happen. It's just gonna happen with everybody either way, right? Because either you believe Dak or you believe Romo. It's a combination of both, but there's going to be a difference in it somewhere. So that's why West Coast and I, you hardly ever see us even debate this because we've learned
not to talk about it.
Yeah, we learned not to talk about it. You know what I mean? Because obviously the passions are deep. And it's one of those things, but we've agreed on this, and we keep falling for the trap. This time we fell for it on air, but we fell for this many times on the phone.
Yep.
To where we'll say, bro, let's just stop, bro. Don't even try to compare because we really can't. And that's where we both agree every time at the end is we say, you know what? We can't compare them. We got to let it play out.
You want to know why though, Boss Cowboy? Because you have very legitimate points when what you're making.
Right. And so do you.
Like, that's why, though. Like, if you're...
That's why I say it's hard.
Yeah, like, what you're saying is...
Now, it got to turn a little bit more black. You know what I mean? It got to get a little bit more concrete. And frankly, 3 years is not enough. You can't judge Romo in his first 3 years.
Nope.
Because he was only giving people coffee during that point. You can't judge him in his first 6 because that was really like his first 3.
Yep.
You really started to really being able to judge Romo by year 7, year 8. You know what I mean? So I think we need about another 2-3 years on Dak to kind of see him through all kind of different situations. Like, what if you lose Cooper, right? You played bad without him. Now, what if you have to play without him again? Will you be better the next go around if you have to go into it in a forced committee, right? Will you be developed to where you can maybe even carry the team?
Did you learn from your mistake? From when
you learn from your mistakes. Now, we know he learned from his sacks. He playing better with the rest now. But did you learn when you have to play smarter with less weapons?
Yep.
We got to see that. And so that's the reason I knocked Mahomes. So I can't knock Mahomes, but then give Dak all this optimism, right? Because I still need to see more before I start really comparing you with our other franchise greats. Now, one thing, we wanted to talk about this earlier. We literally said we were going to talk about this first, but I know how we pivoted to Romo because Mark Holmes brought it up. We was going to pivot to Rico. And we probably not going to do it now, but just to say a little bit, and maybe we'll save it to tomorrow. But I'm hopeful now because the news coming out on Rico is way better than it was this time last year. If you think about the venom that was coming out about Rico last year, it was stuff like he was only caring about his rap career. We was hearing that, and that was a lie. I looked into that. That was a lie. They were saying that stuff like he was out of shape. That was a lie. They was also saying stuff like he couldn't block. That was also a lie, right? That was all coming out of Dallas, right? But this year is totally different. It makes me feel better because then maybe what my number one concern is still on this team is red zone weapons. Because I don't know what Kellen Moore is going to do to the red zone in terms of play calling. But I don't even want to put it all on Kellen Moore, West Coast. Do you think that's fair? To put the whole thing on
I'm going to tell you like this. They flat out asked Kellen Moore if he felt pressure of being in this position, and he answered, I guess you could say it's pressure. Like I don't think Kellen Moore is under any pressure right now.
The whole red zone problem on one guy.
Nah, I don't.
It's a combination. It's going to have to be an improvement with Kellen. It's going to have to be an improvement with Dak. It's going to also have to be an improvement on personnel, meaning who do you put out there, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like we never saw, in my opinion, Rico mature into a red zone threat. Because every now and then, guess what? The defense is going to win. And when they win, who is the person that's open when they're well covered? At first, it was Dez. We don't have that. We can't say Lil Cooper is that guy.
Cooper's not that. Cooper's not a jump ball guy. I know people be trying to make it seem like, but he's not a jump ball guy.
Yeah,
he can do it. He can do it, but he's not. That's not his trait.
That's not his trait. So that's why when you look at our numbers, we saw a easy game between the 20s because that's where he can kill you with routes in space. But what do you lose in the red zone? Space.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So when the space itself neutralizes one of our best weapons, who's our next one? Who's the jump ball guy? Do we even have him? I don't know if we do. And if we have him, will we use him? I'm hoping it's Rico because we really at this point don't have that guy unless it's Rico.
And in every football team, on every offense, on every great offense, there is at least one player who can just out athleticism everybody. Like on every great, I don't care what any good offense. Think about this. There's always that one player who can at any moment, when you need him to, out athleticism everybody.
Right.
Atlanta got him. Who? Julio. In New England had one in who? Gronkowski.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Think about this. Think about this. Hey, think about this. Think about this, Boss Cowboy. Green Bay. Who was Green Bay's? Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers himself.
I was going to say Aaron.
Himself.
His gift is his arm. His athletic ability, is his accuracy is crazy. You know what I'm saying? But it's always like you said, that freak to a degree that gotta pull you over on me just being better than you.
Yep, and think about the guy that New England drafted. They just drafted the guy from Arizona that you liked, who everybody was saying was a Dez replacement. The kid from the wide receiver.
6'6", ran a 4.4, and he's a guy that goes to get it. And just we don't have it. Like Bobby said, Gallup not that guy.
Yeah, he's not.
Gallup is the guy that you gotta throw a perfect teardrop into. You know, like when you look at the end zone catches he made, it had to be perfect throws. When you look at Dez make those catches, he was a lot of times catching bad balls.
Yeah, exactly.
Romo and Dak, right? Romo was putting it in the right spot, and he was going to get it. That's a totally different type of.
And Boss Cowboy, think about this. There are sometimes, not even to throw shade on the quarterback, because of coverage and because of the goddamn defensive end that makes $14 million that's on your butt. I ain't got time to throw the ball perfect. I just got time to throw the ball to you. To get it, throw it up there. And in the red zone, there is a lot of that.
Right.
There's a lot of that.
Some people laugh at me when I say this, but I mean this. This is why I think we're sleeping on not looking at Crabtree.
Because of the end zone, because of red zone.
Crabtree is good at. Like
red
between
zone.
the 20s, we don't need it. We fine. Between the 20s. But when you get at the 20,
red zone.
When you get at the 20, who's a bigger bully than Crabtree?
I mean, go look at what he did to us, and when he played against. And you know what's so crazy? I have this on air. I can show you guys this. I told everybody. I said on before we played the Raiders played the Cowboys. I said that I felt like Crabtree was going to get 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And it had nothing really about, because I was like, because he's smarter than our corners.
He sat down from that whipping he got from Crabtree and said this: in my whole career, I have never been done like that. And he said that literally sitting down on the bench. He said, that has never happened to me. Because, so basically, my mind is still brainstorming on who's going to be that guy in the red zone. I trust us in the 20s. But is it Rico? Is it Devin Smith? I haven't forgot about him. Is it Cedric Wilson?
They're not big enough, bro. They're not big enough. Boss, you got to remember, like, honestly, boss, just think, bro, at the back of the end zone, if you're small, bro, if you lean on me, I'm going out of bounds. Part of the reason why Dez was able to stay in bounds doing this stuff is because he had body to anchor him. You use your weight to anchor him. Really, the only candidates to do that is really Noah Brown and Rico Brothers.
Yeah, man, that's
Cedric is too small to do that.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is mush him out of bounds. That's it.
Yeah, cause see, we don't. Just to be honest, we don't have a red zone guy.
No, Noah Brown, Rico Gathers.
And I'm not counting him. He's too clumsy.
You don't like Noah. I know. I even saw her. I saw her.
He's too clumsy. Like now, I always give you another year to show something better. But what's on film right now is clumsy. Like when the ball is in the air, he falls. Versus Dez would get into he would contort his body into these old acrobatic positions and just make these ridiculous type of just aerodynamic, just like, what was that? Like, just so perfect body control. You don't see that in Noah Brown. I'm just sorry. I just got to be honest. You know what I mean? I see it more in Rico, to be honest. Just like when you look at that catch he made when Mike White just threw it up in preseason and he jumped over his head, which should have been a sure interception.
He just reacted and took it from him.
The Bengals game. And he jumped over the line. You need stuff like that in the red zone.
Yeah.
You need stuff to where it wasn't perfect, but I made it happen. So,
because think about this, Boss Cowboy. A lot of times when Romo's throwing those balls in the back of the end zone, he's throwing it to Dez or to the people in the 100 sections. You know what I'm saying? Those are the type of options you want to just be able to hope that he can bring that thing down. You know what I'm saying?
And we left off Ridden. That was a mistake. Ridden is also a good red zone guy because he also wins the same way he wins on size. But I feel like defense have figured out how to kind of take away Witten. You know what I mean? They're going to bracket him, especially down there, and it's going to come down to who is the guy that's going to win down here. So
exactly, because it's like a winning mentality, and it's a lot of, I definitely think Rico can do it. I mean, my thing is this: basically what you're saying is you basically need a rebound. You need a guy to go up and get a rebound, right? Well, Did you know in 2015 that Rico Gathers led all NCAA in rebounds? Did you know that? So basically what you're saying is you need a guy who can go up about 12 feet and snatch it off the board. Boss Cowboy. Boss Cowboy. Let them know where they can find you at, man.
Snatch you. You need a guy that, and I asked somebody this before. I said, do you think you could ever stop LeBron James from dunking on you?
No.
Exactly. So what make you think some 6'1", 5'11", 6'2" safety at best can stop Rico if you put the ball in the right spot?
And think about this with Rico. Honestly, Dak wouldn't even have to throw dimes. Just throw it in the area.
Just throw it in the right vicinity where he can go get it. That's what you're talking about, West Coast, and that's exactly what I believe in, bro. If you think you can stop LeBron, then you can stop Rico.
Period.
I'm somebody that have a bunch of heart, and I feel like I could have done anything, but I'm gonna be realistic. You're not stopping a guy that's 6'8", that's the rebound champion, that literally dunks with two hands with his elbows bent.
Yeah, that's not. And if you do, you're probably going to get a penalty and put us on a 1. That's even better.
Exactly. So it's like...
That's even better.
So the fact that... And we was going to talk about more of the politics. We never got into the politics of what's going on with Rico, but it's I like how the Cowboys are putting out reports that they're going to use him more. And it's a beautiful thing that his real first year was actually what? Last year.
Yeah.
So people that say, I'm tired of the Rico experiment. I'm done with it. Are you serious? Are you really serious to be so-called done when you really saw this man on the field just 1 year, right? Now, I can see if they made room for him the entire time he's been here, like they did Schultz. They gave Schultz his shot year 1. Rico was on the practice squad year 1. You know what I mean? And then he had the concussion year 2. Year 3 was really his first time. So really, we really kind of got him slowly ingrained into the game, you know? So at this point, he should be taking the next step. We made him more of a blocker last year, right, West Coast?
Yeah, he was in on that 4th and 1.
When they put Rico in, even though the rumors was he's a bad blocker, but why did y'all keep putting him in there?
I know this on the 4th and 1 play, the last offensive play of the Dallas Cowboys on 4th and 1 when we needed one play, we needed 1 yard. Rico Braddles was the lead blocker. Now, I'm not saying that he was the reason why we didn't get that yard, because I honestly believe we should have went the other way, just like my little brother said we should have when he was on the show. You know what I'm saying? We should have went the other way. But, yo, man, I'm going to be honest with you, man. This has been a ridiculous show. I absolutely love it, man. Hey, man, Boss Cowboy, let them know where they can find you at, man.
Yeah, man, you can definitely find me at my page on Facebook at Boss Cowboy. Boss Cowboy is my page. And then obviously you can look at my website, which is www.bosscowboy.com.
Hey, I thought you had something else to say after that, so I was waiting to put my head up. Well, you already know where to find me at because you guys are already here. And for everybody that's watching on Boss Cowboy Sports, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Everybody that's watching in on YouTube, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Also, everybody that's watching on Dallas Cowboys Scouting, appreciate you guys for tuning in, man. You guys already know. I'm going to tell you guys, if you're going to get it popping, just say Romo versus Dak. That's all you got to do, man. I love the debate and I love the banter. But you know what I love more than anything? I love folks that love they Cowboys enough to say, hell no, I'm a sweating. We going to talk about this. You know what I'm saying? I love that. So, hey, man, find you some people. Find you some Cowboy fans that love find you some people that love their team enough to argue about them. You know what I'm saying?
And then another thing too, man, it's a way to debate, right? Obviously you're very passionate. Obviously I'm very passionate on this subject, you know. But at the end of the day, what people should see is that we're able to quickly calm down and move on, and nothing is personal. You believe what you believe, I believe what I believe, and then I wish a lot of people watch this debate. Cause see, some people they get way too personal. It would have became you M Alpha and you ain't no fan.
Yeah, I feel you.
No, I'm never questioning your fandom.
Yeah.
You never questioning mine.
Fact.
It's not a question of that.
Fact.
It's just we don't agree on that particular subject.
Fact. And you know what's cool too, Boss Cowboy? We don't allow us not agreeing on that subject to affect other conversations, because what I also see is people will disagree with one subject and you will change the way you view on nothing now. Now I can't agree with you on nothing. Like, do me and Boss Cowboy disagree on Romo and Dak? Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Did we once disagree on how much Dak was going to get paid? Yeah, we did. And then I was like, yeah, I agree. I think he's going to get $28-30 million. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? Facts come in and facts supersede that. That's just all that is, man. But, hey, man, I already know what it is, man. Never look down. I got my daughter and my kids sitting in front of me because she got to go to choir rehearsal. So y'all already know what it is, man. Never look down because the stars up. Peace.